Hi everyone and welcome to another video from Lanzarote Information. This week we're going to be talking to you about ways to save money on flights. Now, as you can imagine, we book a lot of flights for ourselves. We fly on and off the island up to 20 times a year. So I think we're reasonably well placed to give good advice on how to get the best flight prices. We also have a travel agency, so we book a lot of flights for our clients. So these tips are based on both personal experience and the experience of booking flights for our clients. And today, obviously, we're specifically talking about flights between Northern Europe, most typically the United Kingdom, to Lanzarote and back. And that's what most of you watching these videos will be looking to get the best prices on. And I think the first tip I'd give you is this one: book early. You know, there was a time where you could book your accommodation and sit and wait and hope for a really good last-minute price on flights for late availability. The trouble is, Lanzarote is running at absolute capacity at the moment, and pretty much every aircraft coming into and flying off of the island is doing so full. So it's almost impossible to save money by leaving it until late. And if you do, you stand a really good chance of the price being spectacularly high. So I think the first piece of advice I'd give you is book early. As soon as you have your dates, as soon as you know your dates, get the flights booked. Now, the second thing, while we're talking about booking early, is to book as soon as you see the flight. We've all made this mistake. I've made it many times where I've seen a price and I've thought, yeah, that's okay, I'm going to book that, but I'll leave it until tomorrow because I've got to cook dinner or do whatever it is I've got to do. And I come back the next day and the price has gone up by 20, 30 or even £40 or euros per person. So the minute you see the flight at the price that you're happy with, get it booked. And now I'm going to give you a bonus tip, and that's this. Once you've booked your flight, don't keep looking back at it over the next few months to see if you could have saved a bit by waiting a bit. It's a waste of your own time because you can't really do anything about it once it's booked, and it's only going to put you in a bad mood. So once you've booked your flight at a price you are happy to pay, just stick with it and don't go back and look again. Now, the next tip I'm going to give you is look at other airports. Now, I know that many people kind of get stuck into a routine. You know, we live near Manchester Airport, so we always look at flights only from Manchester Airport. Or we live near Gatwick and therefore we're only going to look at flights from Gatwick. It is worth looking at other nearby airports, and you will be surprised how often you can save significant sums of money. I mean, from Manchester, the obvious one to look at is Liverpool. You could be looking at Birmingham as well because it's not too far down the motorway to go from Birmingham. So do have a look at all the other airports around you to see if you can save money. We've saved a lot over the years by flying into untypical airports, and even in some cases we've stayed in a hotel the night before to get the flight back, and the cost of the hotel rolled in with the cost of the flight is still significantly less expensive than it would have been if we'd gone for our first choice airport. So look at airports around you and see what's available from them. And the other thing, and this really is counterintuitive, is to have a look at doing what we call a bounce flight. So instead of flying directly from, say, London to Lanzarote, actually fly into Madrid or Barcelona and then on to Lanzarote. And the reason that can sometimes work out really well is because there's very high traffic between London and Madrid and London and Barcelona. So flight prices tend to be quite low. Particularly if you take one out of the sort of commuter, outside of the commuter business times of first thing in the morning and last thing in the afternoon. And quite often you can get a flight with a stop along the way cheaper than you can a direct flight. Now, of course, that does give you the worry of making your connection between the two. But the other thing you can do, and similar to what I suggested before, is actually have a night in Madrid or Barcelona en route. And sometimes, if you can save enough money on the flights, you can cover the cost of the hotel and a meal in between the two. So it's worth looking at, worth checking out, particularly if you're looking at a very busy time for Lanzarote, which would be half terms, Easter, Christmas and things like that, because the prices tend to go astronomically high in those peak periods, whereas the commuter type flights, which are Madrid to Lanzarote, Madrid to London and so on, tend to remain much more stable through the year because they're not subject to the vagaries of peak time travel. Now, another thing to look for is the early or late flights. What tends to happen when airlines put their flights on sale, and many of the airlines now have multiple flights daily to Lanzarote, when they go on sale, the sort of middle of the day ones sell up much more quickly than the early morning departures or the early evening departures, which equate to a late evening arrival here in Lanzarote. So do have a look at those early and late flights. They may not be any more convenient, but they're likely to be significantly cheaper than the middle of the day, in inverted commas, good time flights. Now, where to do your research for this? Well, we use Skyscanner. And Skyscanner is an online service. You can book flights through them, but you can also use them to do research for your own flights and then go ahead and book your flights with the relevant airline. But what it enables you to do is to search all the flights, for example, from Manchester to Lanzarote on any given day, and it will list them in price order. So, you know, Ryanair, EasyJet, Jet2 and so on, in the price order that they come out in. Now, Skyscanner will also enable you to do a much broader search. So, for example, you could click all London airports to Lanzarote and it will give them all to you: Gatwick, Heathrow, when that's applicable, Stansted and Luton, because they're all classified as London airports. But you can go a step further and you can go United Kingdom to Lanzarote and it will list all the flights coming to Lanzarote from the UK on a given day. We've actually saved a lot of money in the past by doing that. It wasn't for a flight to Lanzarote, it was actually for a flight from the UK to the United States, but we did that all of UK search and we found a much, much cheaper flight from Glasgow to where we were going in the United States than we were able to get from any of the airports close to us. And even when we added a flight up to Glasgow from London, it was still much, much cheaper than the direct flight from London to where we were going. So it's a bit of an off-the-wall idea, but have a look at all of United Kingdom as well when you do a Skyscanner search. And Skyscanner's URL, by the way, is simply skyscanner.com. Well, there you go. I hope you found that useful. That's just a very brief video with a few quick tips of things we've learned over the years to get the best flight prices to and from Lanzarote. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you found it useful, please give it a like below. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please consider doing so. We put videos like this out every Tuesday with tips and information about the island. We also put a walk around video from somewhere on the island on a Thursday, and every Saturday morning we post the latest news from Lanzarote. So it's the up-to-date news channel for the island. Thank you so much for watching and look forward to doing the next video for you very soon. Bye for now.